I'm going to tell you my life's journey. I was born and I grew up in Guangzhou, China, back in probably many years ago. When I was growing up, my father actually had a restaurant. My mother ran a grocery store. When I was very young, I helped my mother to cook in the kitchen. It was a tiny kitchen in the suburb of Guangzhou. Somehow, my mother never get out of work until probably about 6:30 or 7. So I used to go to the wet market and pick up some vegetable for my mother and wash the vegetables. So even when I was in young age, about 8 or 9 years old, I helped my mother in the kitchen. And sometimes I even help him to pluck the feather from the chicken. And even in a very young age, I love food, I love to cook, I love to watch my mom. My mom is a very good cook. She can turn something simple into a wonderful meal, with limited resources. When I was growing up, actually, there's a lot of things that are probably the most turbulent time in modern Chinese history, because there's a lot of things that are rationed. We only have about 4 ounces of oil a month and 2 pounds of meat, 2 kg of meat a month, 2 yards of fabric. So we live in a very tough at the time. We always go to sleep hungry. So I told my mom, I said, when I grow up, I'm going to be with food. I'm going to be somewhere around food. Then my father passed away when I was 5 years old, and my mother never went to school. She doesn't know how to write, but she's very smart. She used the abacus and to calculate, because she ran a grocery store. When I was about 13, I left China and I went to Hong Kong, went to live with my father's village buddy. He has a restaurant in Hong Kong, because this way I know that if I am close to the restaurant, I don't go hungry every night. And I went to high school, and at the same time, after school, on weekends in the summer, I helped my uncle, my distant uncle, which is my father's village buddy. I was sponsored to go to North America to study in university. This is my journey from China to Hong Kong to North America. When I first landed in Hong Kong, I was only about 13 years old, not even 14. I was short, so I was never able to get onto the workstation. But I was asked to help out, like cutting vegetable, wash this, and pluck the bean sprout, fillet the fish, break down the chicken. That's why eventually I did so many chicken that I can break down a chicken in 18 seconds. And occasionally I helped to do some deep fry and some steaming, but I was still too short. Until I was about 16, then I get into the workstation. Because I spent about 5.5 to 6 years in Hong Kong. I was not a master chef, but I acquired a lot of basic skill, the knife skill, basic steaming, and stir frying, and deep frying. I was prepared. So when I left Hong Kong and sponsored by a church leader to go to North America, first I landed in Canada first. It was so cold that year. It's minus 40 degrees. In Christmas time, I went to visit a friend in California, and the weather is so perfect and so many bicycles. It remind me of China, a lot of bicycles in those days. And then I decided I'm going to stick around, so I never returned to Canada. And I ended up getting a bachelor's degree and master's degree in food science and nutrition. During that period of time, I actually teach cooking class. And so this is how I developed the skill of communicating with people. And I was very fortunate in the right place at the right time. And then when the opportunity comes, and later on I get on television. Well, everybody knows that food is a connector, it's a bridge, and it brings people together. Under the dinner table, we're all good friends. Nobody can argue with a good food, with a good menu, right? So I have been very fortunate because I love food. I'm passionate about food and cooking and teaching. All this year allowed me to travel all over to learn from masters from all over the world. And then when I come back on television, I'll share what I have learned, what I have eaten with all the people. That's why the Yanking Cook Show started in 1978, when there's no other cooking show. And also I was very fortunate. I was the first Asian chef to host a daily show that reached millions and millions of people around the world, the mainstream media. And almost 20-some years later, there are other cooking shows popping up. 25 years later, and our good friend Chef One also get on television and become very big, very successful. I feel that very fortunate that I'm in a business that I can connect people. And still, after all this year, after 48 years on television, I still love what I do, because I get a chance to meet people, and people share this story. I share my story with people. Because food is not only an art, but also a science, and food is also entertainment. You go to a place, you want to be entertained. Just like during Chinese New Year, they always have lo hei, and yum sing, right? So all of this are basically entertainment, energy. First of all, I must admit that I'm not as funny as Chef One. I'm not as funny as Uncle Roger. I think humor and jokes and fun, because when you love what you do, you get very energetic, you get very excited. When you get excited and the audience can feel it, they're telling you, today I'm very excited. Are you? And we're talking to the camera. So basically you're engaging the audience. You talk to the camera, not as a dead object, not as the lens, but as a person. The reason why I got so excited, when the camera's red light is on, I know that there are $20 ringgit coming out from the lens. And I am so excited. That's the reason why I'm smiling. I'm happy. And when I'm happy, I want to make sure that you are also happy. For 45 years, the Genting Cook Show broadcasts in 60 countries, reaching a potential audience of about 3 or 4 billion people. I always like to teach people, show people how to do it. So the Genting Cook Show for the longest time is half an hour. So I can actually do 3 dishes, 10 minutes each. And nowadays, because the attention span is shorter, young people, they want to 30 seconds, 50 seconds. If you really want to learn how to cook, you should really study. Try it, experience it, cook it, and taste it, and next time you can do a better job. So I think cooking is just like any skill, like a tennis player, like golf player. The first time you can never do it. It's practice. Practice makes perfect. Don't worry if the first time you fail. In this couple of days, I'm here in Genting participating as a judge for the first cooking competition of the chef. And I was so surprised. Yesterday, I tasted some of those. They have 4 professional chefs and 1 home cook. And that 2 group of people. And I cannot believe how good these home cooks are. And the professional chef, of course, they are professional. But I was very impressed that they can come up with something so wonderful. So it's very hard for me to say, hey, which is the best? There's no such thing as the best. Beauty, like food, is in the eye of the beholder. Some people love to have something hot and spicy. Some people love to have a lot of fresh curry, like the laksak and nasi lemak. And to me, it's also a learning experience, because the young chef now, a lot of young chefs are in the competition. And I understand there are over 100. This is the first cooking competition I held right in the Genting beautiful theater, and I was walking around and talking to these people, and they're just so amazing to me. Their food is an art. The chefs are basically a magician. They're artists. They can create something from nothing, or they can create from something very simple into a masterpiece. If you don't have the sense of taste, a sense of smell, cooking is very sensuous. Because you use all your senses. You see your eye, or the color change, pale white to golden brown when you're deep frying something. And when you braise something from a little unbelievably ugly looking color into beautiful dark reddish color when you braise something, hong xiu. And then you smell it, so you taste it. When you have all this sense of taste, then you can be a better cook. Because if you don't, you cook, some people chef, they don't even taste their food. How can you be a good cook? You don't even know how it is. In a Western chef, they always have a spoon here. They always taste. I agree with my good friend Gordon Ramsay, because I was on his show, Hell's Kitchen. Normally they have 4 judges. That particular day is about dumpling and noodle competition. I was the only judge to judge that. People are always curious, is he a nice guy? I said, I know he's a nice guy, because I was in the green room picking up my knife. He walked in, I go, hey, how you doing, Gordon? He said, Master Yan. I truly agree that taste is a skill. It's something that you have to develop. Then once you develop, then when you cook, you know what is good, what is bad. And then skill, you can always polish. But taste is intrinsic and is personal. Some people have very good sense of taste. That's the reason why you have master for coffee, tea. They can taste. I love to nurture and work with the young chef. That's why I travel all over the world to work with young chefs and go to culinary schools and inspire young chefs, young people to be a part of the culinary profession. The last few days, this is the first culinary classic. Genting should definitely do it annually because this is very exciting. You nurture, you inspire young chefs, and I hope one of them will one day would join me in my restaurant chain. Maybe I open one in Resorts World in Las Vegas, and then I open a restaurant, Chef Yan, with some of the top young chefs from Malaysia. Then it will be, I'm quite sure it will be very successful.